Hey, how's it going? This is Nick with the Armament. I'm going to do a real quick tutorial on one of the modifications that we offer. Really basically more of an evolution of one of the modifications we offer for the Rare Breed FRT trigger. We have a lot of people asking about this, and this really only concerns one issue right now, but it's something that not all weapons have, but some do, and when it does, it's a catastrophic failure. The trigger simply will not work. And this really isn't the trigger's fault. It really is a tolerance stacking issue, or it's people using the trigger in weapon platforms that it simply just was not designed for. Just because it might work in some of those platforms doesn't mean that it's designed for those, because there is tolerance differences, and that's an engineering thing, and it's a part thing, it's a manufacturing and machining thing, and it is what it is. So what we do is we modify the Rare Breed triggers. You know, we're kind of famous for the sear spring modification. We do those constantly. We're at a point now where we pretty much have a little production run where we do those every day. We also offer the trigger cam set screw modification, and what that does is it's a drilled and tapped hole in this hard metal. And what that does is it allows the trigger to be forced to reset, because on some weapons, that right there, that distance is different. Some weapon platforms, even if it is the AR-15, that distance right there is enough that it will not reset the trigger. It may trip correctly, just it will not reset it. And if it doesn't reset, that's the main part of a forced reset trigger. Again, not the trigger's fault, it is what it is. So what we did is we drilled and tapped the trigger cams and install a set screw, and what you do is you adjust it, and that takes up that play in here, letting you run it. The problem is adjusting that set screw is not very efficient. Once you get it adjusted, it's done and it's solid. Problem with it is a lot of people just didn't want to take the time to adjust it, and rightfully so. It's a bit tedious, taking the trigger in and out, several times, getting it adjusted. A natural evolution of that we started working on and testing about 2 months ago was basically a spring-loaded plunger. What this is it's essentially a self-adjusting reset mechanism that takes up any play and slack. It takes up that difference in any weapon platform, and it really does help force the reset on those problem reset rifles. We've tried ball detents, we've tried spring plungers, we've tried making our own plungers and springs and retainers. We've tried I don't know how many different spring rates. I mean, we're gonna get Christmas cards from MasterCar, MSC, Traverse Tool, you name it, just in the amount of time and effort spent on springs. So we finally found a spring and plunger system and brand and company that we like. Spring rate's great, plunger travel, everything else is good, the price is right, so we've decided to offer this. And what this does is, two things that we've changed is, instead of having a 90-degree set screw, which engages the factory area on the trigger, the spring plunger now is perpendicular, and you see that angle that it hits directly on the back of that hammer. The other thing we did is change the set screw to a spring plunger assembly, with an acceptable spring rate that we found after testing to kind of be the sweet spot. So quick demonstration of what this does. After you fire it, this hammer comes back, engages that spring plunger. What it does is it pushes that down, and what it's doing is it's pushing against your finger, which is the trigger spring on these triggers. Pushes that down, and if you can see here, that play right there, so we have an 1/8 inch of travel. We don't need that much. We're talking about 20 to 40 thousandths at most on our old set screw modifications is what we're typically seeing. So what this does is, right around there is where the problem arises. If you don't have something to take up that slack, the hammer continues back, but the trigger doesn't move and it won't reset. So what this does, fire the round, bolt carrier comes back, hammer pushes on that spring plunger. What you need to do is a slight learning curve is learn that finger tension. Pushes this down and engages that spring, and that's where you get that reset where you normally wouldn't get it. Right there. Now, again, this isn't for every trigger. It's only with certain platforms that have reset issues. A lot of 9mm, a lot of sub caliber stuff. And to be quite honest, anything other than a 5.56 AR that the trigger just simply wasn't designed to work in, this system works very well. Works better than the set screw system. We've had some people voice concerns about, you know, the plunger being a wear item. It is a wear item. Everything in this trigger is a wear item. What we've done is we've sourced these plungers so that they're readily available. They're affordable when it does wear out, if you wear it out. It's a simple pull the trigger out, replace the plunger, put it back in, and you're on range again. Other than that, we've tested it. We found it very helpful. This is also a very good modification for a lot of people that want to swap this trigger or simply just a lower with different uppers. Going back between a 5.56, 300 black, 762 by 39, you name it, go back and forth. What this does is this allows that reset issue that most people are having, and that's a self-correcting part at this point. So big improvement over the set screw modification that we've been offering for the past few months. Hugely successful. We've been doing hundreds and hundreds of triggers with great success. So this is just the evolution of that. We're still going to offer those set screw modifications. My hope is that this really does kind of take that over, because this is a very, very effective solution. It really is self-adjusting. You can't see it now, but that hole does go through the trigger, so this is still adjustable. This is still a threaded insert. You can still adjust the tension on this if you'd like. So the way we send it out, it's a factory setting. You shouldn't have any issues with it. If you want to reduce the tension, you're more than welcome to. Spring rate on this is just over 11 pounds. So what that means is don't grip it so hard that you can actually lock up the system. But what that does mean is that this is not going to exert so much tension on the bottom of your bolt carrier ramp for that hammer that it's going to lock up. So again, we've done quite a bit of testing. We're extremely familiar with these Rare Breed triggers at this point. We've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And again, this isn't a Rare Breed issue. This is really just a trigger that wasn't designed to work in something, and people are just taking off and running with it, which is an amazing thing and a great thing for the industry. But anyway, this is one of the newest modifications. You know, we do the spring upgrades as well, which are solid, excellent investment for the trigger, and they work extremely well. This is definitely an amazing evolution of the set screw. I'm pretty excited about it, and we're going to start offering it pretty much immediately. It'll be on the website and ready to go. So if anybody has any questions, please contact us. And yes, we will be offering these spring plungers as parts if you have the standard set screw upgrades that you've already done through us. It's a quick, simple swap over. You won't get the same angle. It's not that the same angle as the hammer. However, it's still a good retrofit, and it will still work, and it still does the same thing for you. So if you have any questions, let us know, and it will be live on the website here, armamentusa.com. Appreciate it.